Hello loves, buckle up because for today I'm gonna have a raw and real conversation about my mental health and spill some tea about what's been going on in my life lately. So feel free to grab your snacky snacks or your drinks and let's hang out. Also, I apologize for the lighting and the bad quality, but I'm in a different room, so I am really sorry. But with that being said, let's get to it. Alright, so where do I even begin? There's just so much that have happened in my life, and I haven't really been as consistent here with my YouTube channel. There's just so much to talk about. For starters, I was actually sick, and I think I was sick for about a month, I want to say, give or take, I'm not too sure. I actually had a gastroparesis flare. Not only did I have a gastroparesis flare, but I also ended up sick with a really bad UTI. See, I was really confused at first at what was going on with me because I was getting a lot of muscle weakness and I didn't know why. And I went to the hospital 3 times and I just wasn't really feeling well. All my tests were good, including my urine test and all of that. So all of that was pretty good, which was very weird, but I felt sick. I was nauseous. I also had abdominal pain and I just felt really weak, and it was really hard for me to do anything physical. Every time I did any little physical thing, even if I was walking for a few moments, I just started to feel so weak and it was really stressing me out, and I started to feel super depressed because of it, because there was no answers for me. Finally, about 3 weeks, I decided to go to my gastroenterologist because I was having a lot of abdominal pain. So I went. I was also having a lot of acid reflux too at the same time, so it was pretty rough. So when I went to the gastroenterologist, they were looking at my hospital lab works and they found out that I actually had a urine infection. So that's when she was like, oh, this is why you're probably ill, because this is also probably making you sick. On top of that, my whole stomach issues was happening. So she ended up putting me on antibiotics. It was Levaquin. I was on Levaquin 500 milligrams, and Levaquin is a very strong antibiotic, and it's also a very much dangerous medication because there is a black box with it. But sadly, it's the only medication that works for me because I am resistant to macrobid and I am allergic to 3 medications. So the only medication that works for me, sadly, is the Levaquin. But the 500 milligrams was way too strong. So I was feeling very, very sick. Anyways, so since the antibiotics were making me really sick, I decided to call my primary care instead, because my primary care, they tend to help me a little bit more whenever it comes to my urine infections because they know how sensitive I am to medication. So I asked them if they could possibly lower it, and they did lower the dose. I was able to tolerate the medication. However, I still felt a little sick with it, but for the most part, it was making me dehydrated because I was also on acid reducers for the acid reflux, and at the same time, I was on the antibiotics. So all of it was just making me super sick and dehydrated, so I ended up in the ER. So I was really sick from the point where it was really difficult for me to walk. They ended up giving me fluids through the IV, and it really did help because I started to feel better, so they discharged me. So anyways, after I was back home and I started feeling better from the IV fluids, I was still in bed. I was bed resting because I just really couldn't do much of anything. So it was very much difficult, and I started having a really hard time, and it was affecting my mental health so bad. I started to become super duper depressed with it all because I'm 27 years old. I should be a healthy adult, but every time something always goes wrong with my health. And then I was even more worried because during the time with the whole urine infection and the antibiotics, I was still having some stomach problems because antibiotics are really hard on the stomach. So when I called my primary care, they did all kinds of tests. I've had CT scans, I have had x-rays and blood work, and they really couldn't find anything wrong with me. So during that whole time, I kind of felt scared because my primary care was also talking about maybe it's best if I get a colonoscopy just to rule out cancer, colon cancer. So I was super scared during that whole time, and my boyfriend had to be there for me because I was just so worried since cancer runs in my family. So I was like freaking out a lot because I like during the whole time with my whole stomach problems and after the whole urine infection, I started to have really crazy problems in my booty area. I don't want to go too personal with that, but I was having problems with it. So they ended up like checking my bottom. So yeah, crazy. So there's just like a whole bunch going on like back and forth. It was insane, and you could definitely tell like how I was doing mentally with everything that's going on, from like a urine infection to a gastroparesis flare to like bottom troubles. So yeah, it was insane. Anyways, so after that, my GI doctor was telling me like if I didn't get better, they were gonna do like a procedure to check my booty area, and it wouldn't be like a colonoscopy, it's like something else, and they check like halfway. So currently right now I'm like doing a little bit of like treatments and whatnot to see if they will help, and if they don't, then we're gonna have to do this whole procedure and have a camera go in, you know, to take a look at everything that's been going on. So lately I've been super stressed with that and like paranoid. Anyways, above all of that, I also started seeing a psychiatrist. When I went to see the psychiatrist, I wasn't expecting to take any medication or anything like that. The whole reason why I went to a psychiatrist was because my primary care basically put me there, because I wouldn't say like forcefully put me there, but they just gave me a referral to see one because he was speculating that I had chronic fatigue syndrome, because this was when the whole muscle weakness was going on and everything like that. So he suspected that I have chronic fatigue syndrome, and I was really confused as to why I needed a psychiatrist for that. So when I was at the psychiatrist, despite it being like a whole emotional roller coaster, that is when he diagnosed me with PTSD, depression, and anxiety. I knew I had depression and anxiety, but I didn't know I had PTSD. To keep it short and simple, I was actually in an emotional abusive relationship in the past. I've explained it on one of my videos before. If you would like to check it out, I'll put the link somewhere on the screen. So I basically have a lot of trauma from that, and my psychiatrist decided to put me on antidepressants. And I did not like the antidepressants. I tried it for like 3 days and I didn't like the way it would make me feel. I would basically have like a full energy, like I would be full of energy, and then like I'll put the little meme of how I kind of felt somewhere on the screen, like the photo of how the medication made me feel. They basically put me on fluoxetine, and this is how I felt. So yeah, I would basically have, like I said, energy, and then suddenly I would crash and I'd feel tired. I felt like I just didn't care about anything, which is great, you know, like I love that I didn't care about anything. I was able to get up and like do my routine. Like I'm so bad with my skincare lately because I was like unmotivated, that I was finally able to even like do my skincare routine, which was so crazy. But at the same time, I just didn't really like the way the medicines made me feel, because the side effects are pretty strong on me. Like I said, I'm very sensitive to medicine, so I feel everything. That's because I was only taking half and I still felt very weird and ugly. Like I felt so unbalanced. I was scared that I would like trip and fall. You know, it was just crazy. So I decided not to take it. So my psychiatrist actually has me seeing a therapist as well. So I actually just started doing that. I haven't really told him about the medication, that I don't really want to be on it, which I am supposed to have that conversation with him. But I guess a part of me is like kind of scared, even though I know I shouldn't be, because it is my body and I have a decision whether or not I want to take those kind of medicines. And personally, antidepressants aren't for me because I'm basically not fully ready to commit myself to those kinds of medications, especially because I personally feel like it's not going to solve my problems and I want to go to the root of the issues. So that's why I really didn't want to take them, because I kind of felt like the antidepressants were just a band-aid. You know, like it wasn't going to fix my problems. It was just basically going to numb everything, but I'm still going to be in the same situation that I'm in. Anyways, so after going through the whole psychiatrist situation, and he decided to, you know, put me with like a therapist, it kind of like hit me. Like, I don't know, it was kind of like an awakening, I guess. It made me realize a lot of things. I started doing a lot of research on like how can I overcome anxiety and depression naturally. So as I was researching, I started learning a lot about it, and there was a lot of things that actually helped me. And there's a YouTuber that I actually bumped into called Lavender. I'm not sure if anybody's heard of her, but she is a really amazing YouTube creator. She talks about mindfulness, and she has like meditation and a bunch of other stuff. Like, if you all haven't seen her channel, like, feel free to go check it out. But yeah, so after watching a video of hers, I was learning about journaling and going into the root cause of my anxiety, you know, and my stress. And I never really fully connected the dots, and I was like, wow, how did I not like stop and think about this? Or like, how did I not do this a long time ago? And it made me realize that oftentimes I overwork so much with content, with streaming, and I do anything that I can to basically ignore my problems. Like, I've never actually fully sat down and questioned my thoughts or paused for a moment, you know, like I wasn't listening to my thoughts or anything like that. So I finally figured out what were my issues. There's basically a lot of trauma that I haven't healed from, and it literally has affected me, you know. Even though it's been like years, I've never really faced that trauma. I just ignored it. Like, there was actually a video that I saw on TikTok which was so helpful. It was by a psychologist. If I could find the video, I'll put the link down in the description. And she was basically describing trauma and how like there's like a wound on your arm, and sometimes what we do is we just patch it up with like a band-aid, and we just cover it frequently, and we don't heal that wound, so it stays open. And that's basically what I was doing for years. So once I figured out the roots, I was like, you know what? Like, I don't want to feel the way I feel anymore. Like, I'm tired of feeling sad. I'm tired of having anxiety and all this stuff. Like, I am so done. So I decided to go to the therapist that my psychiatrist, you know, basically referred me to. And so far, I had my first day on Tuesday. And I thought she was really good. I liked her because I've actually seen a counselor, I think 4 times or 3 times. This is my 4th time. And the first time I seen a counselor, I saw one when I was in high school. And this was, you know, through the abuse I was going through. But I was going through like emotional abuse for years. It was like on and off with this person. So when I went to counseling, it did help. And then it wasn't until I went back to this person that's when my mental health started to decline again. And then after that, like, I never really healed from it, you know. So I spent my time with like, I think 2 other counselors, but they didn't really help me as much. So then this one that I'm seeing currently, I feel like she's a good counselor. So I'm basically gonna like stick around with her and hope for the best. So that's what I'm going through right now. And also, like, as I was talking to my therapist, I basically realized how my mental health is a vicious cycle, because for the most part, I suffer way more with anxiety, and then that anxiety leads to the depression. I end up feeling depressed because I basically feel bad about my loved ones, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I'm probably a burden to my loved ones because of my health. Like, I'm struggling with my health all the time. I constantly have to go to appointments. It must be super inconvenient. And that's when I start getting depressed, because it's like a vicious cycle. I think about all of my health problems, and I'm just like, oh, I should be normal, you know, I'm a 27-year-old. I should be able to live a happy, healthy life, but sadly that's not happening. I'm always sick all the time. And because of those thoughts, that's what leads to my depression. And I wish I would have known about these problems sooner, but like I said, I would just ignore my problems by overworking with content. I would always just overwork constantly. I wouldn't like really stop and think about these things until now. Anyways, so after going through all of this, it was genuinely like a huge eye-opener for me. And I decided that I am just so done with the way I'm feeling. I am going to continue with therapy, and I am practicing gratitude. I'm practicing how to control my thoughts more so. So I'm basically journaling a lot more, and I also decided to work out because I haven't worked out in years, and I'm finally going back into that. And I've also decided to meditate and do some yoga. So I'm hoping that this would be something that will help me along the way. And it's definitely really challenging. Like, it's not easy, you know, because sometimes I do spiral into my thoughts again and my depression, and it's just really hard, you know. And the thing is, nobody really talks about healing from trauma, or like, they don't talk about how hard it is to basically get your life together. Basically, I've always been in like this whole survival mode. Like, I'm always alert, I'm always in survival mode. I've never actually relaxed, you know. So, you know, it's been like this for years. I've had anxiety and depression for a long time. I want to say probably since 2013, 2014. We are currently in 2023, and I've never really gone to the root of the issues because I've been through a lot. I've been through a lot of things in my life that it's hard for me to kind of like be positive because bad stuff just keeps happening, and it's just so difficult for me. So it's a lot of patience, and I have to be much more kinder to myself because there's times where I'm just like, oh my gosh, here I go again, I'm overthinking. And it's like, okay, this is something that I've been dealing with for years. I have to be very, very patient with myself. Like, healing is not gonna come like overnight. It doesn't work that way. I know it's gonna take time because I've literally been in fight mode and in survival mode for years, that my mind is already so used to that it's so difficult for me to be at the, like, be in a peace state. Like, it's been years. So I haven't really felt free or at peace in a very, very, very long time. Anyways, it kind of sucks that I have figured out all of these things really late. I wish I started this healing journey like as, you know, sooner, but you know, it is what it is. Things happened, and I just tried to ignore all of my problems, but you know what, they're not going away. So it's like, I need to be able to deal with it with healthy coping skills. So this is definitely a huge challenge for me, especially because I'm chronically ill. So I feel like my health is what gets me the most, and it brings me down because it's like, I want to be healthy, but it's very difficult for me too because this is the way I am, and I need to start accepting myself. And that's something that's also really challenging within itself because I've never really accepted myself. I never really forgave myself for past mistakes or anything like that. So it's definitely a lot. Anyways, like I said, it's just a lot of things that have been affecting me mentally, and it took me so long to like finally realize certain things and finally realize that I have a problem. And it's not just with like my trauma, and also like, I mean, of course my health is a part of it, but I have severe health anxiety, and I mean severe, guys. Like, it's so bad. I need to be able to control my thoughts, you know, and focus on the now instead of focusing on the past or future, you know what I mean? Like, there's just so much issues that I've been dealing with mentally, and it's definitely the most hardest thing. Like, it's not easy, especially if you're someone who's like chronically ill all the time. It's not easy to not feel sad or bad about it. Like, I'm going to feel bad, I'm gonna be stressed out because, you know, who isn't? Like I said, I am a 27-year-old young woman. I should be healthy, I should be able to go out. And basically what I'm trying to say is that my chronic illness really does affect me mentally because I feel different. I don't feel like I'm like the average 27-year-old woman. See, I'm not like the average person that goes out, you know, and has fun and do all these things, travel, you know, because I am the kind of person that is more of a homebody because I tend to feel sick. I'm usually in pain, and then sometimes I end up feeling bad because I get invited to events and then I don't show up to those events because I'm either sick or in pain, or I'm just too scared to leave my own house because I'm terrified that I'm going to get a panic attack. So usually I have to be accompanied by my boyfriend or a family member. And living this way just isn't it. That's why it makes me feel different and it affects me mentally, because I know life is short, so I should make the most of it and travel. But my chronic illness makes it so freaking difficult for me to do that. And I have a lot of fear. So it's just not a way to live, and that's something that I want to work through. I literally miss good opportunities because of my health. I've even had opportunities to do photo shoots, but I never really ended up doing them because of my health. So it really does take a toll on my life, and it bothers me. And another reason why I feel so different is because I'm very limited with food. So whenever I go to gatherings, they have all these kinds of foods, and I can't really eat them. So I don't want to come off as rude either and be hey, I can't eat that whenever someone questions me as to why I'm not eating or something. And I just feel a lot of people don't really understand my condition, so it makes it a little difficult. So in a sense, I just kind of feel different because I'm not the average 27-year-old, I guess. Okay, so here I was actually discussing on why I haven't been consistent with YouTube, but I basically talk too much, so I'm just gonna explain it through voiceover. So basically, I was on and off from YouTube because I was actually grieving over family members. I kept losing family members left and right, and this was something that I was gonna update you guys with, but that didn't happen because life just kept kicking my butt really hard. So I never got the chance to. Anyways, one of the ones that hit me really hard was actually losing my grandma and my uncle. That one really did take a toll on me. Actually, since it is now June, it is actually the 1-year anniversary since my grandma has passed, and it's literally been really difficult without my uncle and my grandma because they're the ones that I felt kept everything alive. So basically, it's been feeling really empty without them, especially during holidays. On top of losing my family members, I was also really devastated with having to rehome my dog Miguel. I don't know if I ever mentioned Miguel on my YouTube videos, but I did mention him on my TikTok videos. I was very devastated because I loved my dog Miguel so much. I felt he was part of my happiness, and he really did help me with my depression because I forcefully had to get out of bed to walk him outside, so it kept me active, but I was actually really happy with having him. And then once I had to rehome him, it really did break my heart a lot. And although I was devastated with having to rehome him, I do feel happy with the fact that he is loved and cared for. My boyfriend and I, we were able to find him a loving family, and they are taking care of him, and I can also visit him. So that makes me happy. It's just I really wish I didn't have to rehome him. The reason why I had to rehome Miguel was because I ended up having the virus twice last year, so it ended up messing up my body. I now suffer with asthma, and I also have severe allergies. So every time Miguel would basically shed, I would start having breathing problems. So my pulmonologist suggested that I basically rehome him instead. And I tried everything I could just to keep Miguel. I even wanted to get allergy shots, but it wasn't possible because I'm basically taking a medication for my heart rate, which is beta blockers. And for whatever reason, if you're on beta blockers, you can't get the allergy skin test. So since I was on that and I couldn't get the allergy skin test, I couldn't get the shots. So there was really no winning with this situation. It was literally just sucky. Anyways, I was just going through a lot, and I definitely didn't really feel motivated to create content, especially because I was just so furious at the person on top of that for even getting me sick in the first place, because they were pretty much very careless and they didn't take precautions. Even though they knew I had a bad immune system, they just didn't really care, and they also never really apologized for it either. So in a sense, it just made me so furious because my body just isn't the same anymore. Anyways, the one thing that I need to learn is acceptance from everything that has happened, because I can't control certain situations. So I just kind of have to deal with what I'm dealing with now, if that makes sense. And during this whole journey, I have actually learned that healing and working through my mental health isn't a walk in the park. I'm just taking one step at a time, and it's literally been an uphill battle, but I'm proud of myself for choosing to face my demons instead of letting them consume me. I've had my fair share of setbacks, breakdowns, and days when I wanted to just give up, and I know that's gonna happen, but I gotta be more kinder and patient with myself. At the end of the day, I'm just glad that I'm still here trying my best, and I'm just getting stronger every day. So here's to embracing the journey and celebrating the small victories and reminding ourselves that it's okay to be a work in progress. I'm determined to come out of this more resilient than ever. I'm gonna go and finish getting ready and I will see you guys in a second. Okay, so this is the outfit that I'm gonna be wearing today. So this is just like a little top and then I have this slit skirt here. I don't know how some women wear slit skirts like this. Like I don't know what they wear underneath so their bum won't show. If you guys know what to wear for that, please let me know down in the comments. I just put on some black shorts because that's all I could think of right now. So I'm just going to be wearing this outfit with some sandals and that's pretty much it for my outfit. And so far, this is the finished makeup look. I did something really simple. I didn't really want to take too long with my makeup today because I got to be somewhere. I actually haven't told you guys what I'm doing today, but I'm basically celebrating Father's Day a little bit earlier. So yeah, but this is the finished makeup look. Alright, so that's pretty much everything that's been going on with my life, especially with my health. I apologize for my YouTube channel not being very consistent as much, and I also apologize for this video being really long. I also need to stop apologizing. I don't know why I do that. Actually, no, I kind of know why I do that, but yeah, it's something that I need to stop doing. But other than that, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Feel free to give it a thumbs up and also comment down below if maybe you relate to anything that I just discussed. Also, if you're struggling with anxiety or depression or any other mental illness, just know and understand that you are not alone and it's okay to seek help. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching.